Vasishta's Yoga, translated by Swami Venkatesananda. The sage Vasishta describes to Sri Rama the four gatekeepers to self-knowledge that are the means for crossing over the ocean of samsara. Vasishta continued, in order to cross this formidable ocean of samsara, repetitive history, one should resort to that which is eternal and unchanging. He alone is the best among men, O Rama, whose mind rests in the eternal and is therefore fully self-controlled and at peace. He sees that pleasure and pain follow and cancel each other, and in that wisdom there is self-control and peace. He who does not see this sleeps in a burning house. He who gains the wisdom of the eternal here is freed from samsara, and he is not born again in ignorance. One may doubt whether such unchanging truth exists. If it does not, one comes to no harm by inquiring into the nature of life. Seeking the eternal will soften the pain caused by the changes in life. But if it exists, then by knowing it, one is freed. The eternal is not attained by rites and rituals, nor by pilgrimages or wealth. It is to be attained only by the conquest of one's mind, by the cultivation of wisdom. Hence, everyone, gods, demons, demigods, or men, should constantly seek whether one is walking, falling, or sitting, self-control, and the request of the mind, which are the fruits of wisdom. When the mind is at peace, pure, tranquil, free from delusion or hallucination, untangled and free from cravings, it does not long for anything, nor does it reject anything. This is self-control or conquest of mind, one of the four gatekeepers to liberation that I mentioned earlier. All that is good and auspicious flows from self-control. All evil is dispelled by self-control. No gain, no pleasure in this world or in heaven is comparable to the delight of self-control. The delight one experiences in this presence of the self-controlled is incomparable. Everyone spontaneously trusts him. None, not even demons and goblins, hates him. Self-control, O Rama, is the best remedy for all physical and mental ills. When there is self-control, even the food you eat tastes better, else it tastes bitter. He who wears the armor of self-control is not harmed by sorrow. He who, even while hearing, touching, seeing, smelling, and tasting what is regarded as pleasant and unpleasant, is neither elated nor depressed. He is self-controlled. He who looks upon all beings with equal vision, having brought under control the sensations of pleasure and pain, is self-controlled. He who, though living amongst all, is unaffected by them, neither feels elated nor hates, even as one is during sleep. He is self-controlled. Vasishta continued, inquiry, the second gatekeeper to liberation, should be undertaken by an intelligence that has been purified by a close study of the scripture, and this inquiry should be unbroken. By such inquiry, the intelligence becomes keen and is able to realize the supreme. Hence, inquiry alone is the best remedy for the long-lasting illness known as samsara. The wise man regards strength, intellect, efficiency, and timely action as the fruits of inquiry. Indeed, kingdom, prosperity, enjoyment, as well as final liberation are all the fruits of inquiry. The spirit of inquiry protects one from the calamities that befall the unthinking fool. When the mind has been rendered dull by the absence of inquiry, even the cool rays of the moon turn into dreaded weapons, and the childish imagination throws up a goblin in every dark spot. Hence, the non-inquiring fool is really a storehouse of sorrow. It is the absence of inquiry that gives rise to actions that are harmful to oneself and to others, as well as to numerous psychosomatic illnesses. Therefore, one should avoid the company of such unthinking people. They, in whom the spirit of inquiry is ever awake, illumine the world, enlighten all who come into contact with them, dispel the ghosts created by an ignorant mind, and realize the falsity of sense pleasures and their objects. O Rama, in the light of inquiry, there is realization of the eternal and unchanging reality. This is the supreme. With it, one does not long for any other gain, nor does one spurn anything. He is free from delusion and attachment. He is not inactive, nor does he get drowned in action. He lives and functions in this world, and at the end of a natural lifespan, he reaches the blissful state of total freedom. The eye of spiritual inquiry does not lose its sight even in the midst of all activities. He who does not have this eye is indeed to be pitied. It is better to be born as a frog in the mud, a worm in dung, a snake in a hole, than to be without this eye. What is inquiry? To inquire, who am I? How has this evil of samsara come into being? Is true inquiry. Knowledge of truth arises from such inquiry. From such knowledge there follows tranquility in oneself, and then there arises the supreme peace that surpasses understanding and the end of all sorrow. Vasishtha continued, contentment is another gatekeeper to liberation. He who has quaffed the nectar of contentment does not relish craving for sense pleasures. No delight in this world is as sweet as the contentment that destroys all sins. What is contentment? To renounce all craving for what is not obtained and sought, and to be satisfied with what comes unsought without being elated or depressed. This is contentment. As long as one is not satisfied in the self, he will be subject to sorrow. With the rise of contentment, the purity of one's heart blooms. The contented man who possesses nothing owns the world. Satsanga, company of the wise, holy, and enlightened persons, is yet another gatekeeper to liberation. Satsanga enlarges one's intelligence, destroys one's ignorance and psychological distress. Whatever be the cause, however difficult it may be, whatever obstacles may stand in its way, Satsanga should never be neglected, for Satsanga alone is one's light on the path of life. Satsanga is indeed superior to all other forms of religious practice like charity, austerity, pilgrimage, and the performance of religious rites. One should, by every means in one's power, adore, and serve the holy men who have realized the truth and in whose heart the darkness of ignorance has been dispelled. They who, on the other hand, treat such holy men disrespectfully surely invite great suffering. These four: contentment, satsanga, company with the wise, the spirit of inquiry, and self-control, are the four surest means by which they who are drowning in this ocean of samsara can be saved. Contentment is the supreme gain. Satsanga is the best companion to the destination. The spirit of inquiry itself is the greatest wisdom, and self-control is supreme happiness. If you are unable to resort to all these four, then practice one. By the diligent practice of one of these, the others will also be found in you. The highest wisdom will seek you of its own accord. Until you tame the wild elephant of your mind with the help of these noble qualities, you cannot have progress towards the Supreme, even if you become a god, demigod, or a tree. Therefore, O Rama, strive by all means to cultivate these noble qualities.